You're wasting your time. Well, that's okay. Let me waste my time. And he'll say something like this. How do you vacation every year? Well, no, not every year. I'll bet you'd like to. Well, yeah, we sure would. Well, if you had your own condo, you could. If we had our own condo, we could vacation every year. Yeah, but we can't afford it. Oh, yeah, right. He's never heard that before. That'll stop him in his tracks. You know what he's going to do? Oh, no, wait a second. How much are you spending this week? I mean, you're here in the area, you're renting something, right? Yeah. How much is it costing you? Okay. Well, now, you see, and I don't know how they figure this out, but it still comes out good. It's like you're paying $700 a week when you could be paying just $50 a day for 365 days. Whoa. And you go, we can't afford it. We can afford it. What? Yeah, right. Well, we don't want a vacation in the same place every year. No problem. You see, these condos that I'm selling you, we have the red section, white section, and blue section. You guys don't have red and white. Anyway, and the one I'm showing you is in the red section. And because if you get the premium condo, the premium timeshare, you don't have to vacation the same week every year or the same place. Why, your condo here in Orlando, you could trade it for one in Miami next year. You could trade it for one in Acapulco the year after that. You could trade it for one in the French Riviera. Okay. We could go to the French Riviera for just $50 a day for the rest of our lives. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with buying a condo. People buy them and use them exactly that way. But it's a bad thing if you got so tempted that you gave in. Do you know how great the pressure is? Let me tell you what Kathy and I do. We go in and we say, we're here for the tickets. And they say, well, we got to talk to you. I said, no, we're not going to buy your timeshare. Well, I'm sorry, but no. And I said, we want the tickets, but we're not going to buy your timeshare. Well, yeah, but we have to say, no, it's going to be 90 minutes, right? Yeah, okay. And the guy told me, he says, well, you have to stay here for 90 minutes anyways. I said, we brought books. I said, we're going to sit right there, and we're going to read for 90 minutes. While we're reading, because you're not going to sell it to us, so you're wasting your breath and your time. So we'll read for 90 minutes. You get a real person, and you might sell it, and then 90 minutes from now, give us our tickets. So we read for 90 minutes, and then in 90 minutes, we get our tickets. You say, wow, you didn't give in to temptation. No, you don't understand. I didn't enter this fear. Because if I listened, I might buy it. Even if I went in there saying, I'm not buying this, I might buy it. Because you don't know what you're going to do when you're tempted. Do you know how great the temptation is? When you're done, whether you buy it or not, they don't let you leave. They have a courtyard with some very strong coffee and Tim Hortons. And you have to have re-entry. We went there. We were young at this time, and there was this older couple, at least this older lady sitting there. I mean, she had a cigarette here. She's going, and we sat down at our table. I don't know where her husband was. He was hanging himself on a tree somewhere. I'm serious. We're sitting down with this lady who was, we figure, older and wiser. And I think she was. I'm telling you, I think she was. I don't think they were fools. I said they were older and wiser than we were. And we sat down at the table, and she didn't even know us. And she goes, did you buy? And we went, no, we didn't buy. We did. I'm not sure we did the right thing. How can those words come out of somebody more mature than me? Somebody's got more sense than me. You know how? Stepped into temptation and never got out. If you want to experience temptation, just go, oh, whoa. Orlando's a little way off. You know where some of you can't get past temptation? In Walmart. I'm not anti-Walmart at all. But you know, if we need a loaf of bread, you know where I go for a loaf of bread? Corner gas station. Oh, man, you're paying $25 or 25 cents a loaf more than you would at Walmart. You're right. But you know what I'm buying? A loaf of bread. I'm not buying a loaf of bread. And look at that screwdriver set. Right here by the cash register. You know that smiling guy that hands you the cart when you walk into Walmart? Do you know why he's there? Because I had a Walmart manager tell me, they did a demographic study. If they can put a cart in your hand, if they can put a grocery cart in your hand, you'll on average spend $40. I'll bet you nobody here has ever gone to Walmart and bought a thing. Oh, maybe you went and bought one big thing, like a new washer or something. But most of the time, you go in for one thing and come out with 10. You know why? Oh, look at that, it's on sale. But we don't have the money. No, we don't, but... And now some of you are in debt. You know why? Because you walk right into temptation. See, you thought all temptation had something to do with Playboy Empire. But it might be Walmart's empire. I'm telling you, you would do better to walk into the gas station and pay 25 cents more for the loaf of bread or the gallon of milk or the... You guys don't buy a gallon of milk. Anyway, you do better to go into the corner gas station and pay 25 cents more for the loaf of bread than go to, well, I'm going to go to Walmart. I'm going to save 25 cents on this loaf of bread. And you're going to spend $90 on other things you didn't need. And if you don't have the money, you're going to charge it because you walked into temptation and couldn't get away from it. Say, what should I do then, preacher? I think you ought to do what the Lord told you to do. I think you ought to every day say, Lord, please, please lead me not into temptation. I think second, you ought to make sure you don't lead yourself into temptation. I think third, you ought to, if you find yourself tempted, run like a coward. But if you have been tempted to do something and you didn't do it, I think you ought to count it as victory. I think, because we Christians, I mean, you know, we are the people that we can find a cloud in every silver lining. We can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I mean, we can turn a victory into a defeat. If you have been tempted to do something and did not do it, that was a victory. Such a great victory that your Father said, I'm going to give you a crown for it. And some of you ought to look yourself in the mirror and say, I remember when you thought about doing that. I remember the plan. I remember when you started to put it into action. And I remember when you couldn't go through with it. And that was a victory. Was not a defeat. And take it for the victory that it is. I'd like you to stand with your heads bowed.